Oh well, it's a different ballgame. It's your end target is a moving picture that tells a story, but the way to get there and the audience who are trapped in a theatre, in a blackened theatre, who are not going to move and get up and make a sandwich or something, are a totally different audience to the audience you make for TV. It's just using the same props, the same skills, but you have to approach it as a totally different project.
To the actual filming and the editing and all that other stuff, but I can see, and particularly getting involved in that little short film was a great experience, just how by having 20 people, you know, all doing different tasks and a couple of lackeys who turned up on the day, that all of a sudden now you can focus your attention much more onto that one piece. It's very much a team sport, isn't it, really? And having that trust. Yeah.
It's a collaborative thing. It's a collaborative thing, and you have to be able to trust the people you're collaborating with.
Yeah.
As they're probably trusting you. So trust and collaboration.
How did you find the difference between producing a movie, so the interview with Hugo Weaving, I believe it was. How did you find the difference between doing a movie versus doing a TV series?
Oh, well, it's a different ballgame. It's your end target is a moving picture that tells a story. But the way to get there and the audience who are trapped in a theatre, in a blackened theatre, who are not going to move and get up and make a sandwich or something, are a totally different audience to the audience you make for TV. It's just using the same props, the same skills, but you have to approach it as a totally different project. You know, one is a long-term film, might take you a year, 2 years to make. Home and Away takes 8 days. You know, it's every decision is probably more important on a film.
Yeah.
More important because A, it costs more, and B, it's on a much bigger screen, so you see it. These days with webcasts, for instance, you know, you're talking about little screens like we're on at the moment. You don't see all the fine details.
Yeah.
So it's not quite so important to get every exact thing right. Although you still try and do it as best you can.
Yeah.
It's just a different approach. That's all.
Yeah.
You don't have rehearsals for most TV, whereas you have a lot of rehearsals for film.
Yeah.
You don't have. Well, you shoot maybe 8 times as much product per day on television than you do for a film.
Yeah.
It's all different in that sort of sense.
Yeah. I would imagine with less takes, for example, in a TV series.
Well, yes and no. Depends what sort of a director you are. You know, a lot of actors, and depends on the actor. Some actors get it. You know, their first or second take is the best they've ever going to do. So they're the ones you use. And some directors will go on and on and on doing take 10, 11, 12, whereas they get to the editing room and they use take 2.
Yeah.
It's depends how you work. I made a kids show once. It was lovely. It was called The Lost Islands.
Yeah.
And there's a whole bunch of kids sitting in a circle discussing stuff. And they had a dog there. And the deal was that the dog was listening as well. So you had to shoot cutaways. Some would call it cutaways of the dog listening.
Yeah.
Did cutaways of the dog listening for about 8 seconds or something. And moved on. We did the next scene. I had lunch or whatever. Whereas another director who I know, who I won't know, would have done the whole scene, and the scene ran for about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes, would have done the whole scene with the camera just on the dog.
Right.
So, you know, you make your decisions on the day. Television, you know you're only going to need 1.5 seconds of the dog, or maybe 2 seconds tops. So you shoot 8 seconds. You don't have to shoot 2 minutes of a dog to get that couple of seconds. If you're making a feature film, you probably would shoot the whole scene with the dog.
Yeah.
Because you never know, the dog's going to prick up its ears, when it's going to prick up its ears and when it's not, you know.
Yes.
But then again, if you've got your characters in the same shot, it's important when the dog pricks its ears up. If it's actually a cutaway, it doesn't matter because you can put it in anywhere you want.
Yes. That's right.
So
That's the magic.
All those differences, yeah.
Yeah. We've got Chris Phillips here has joined us. She's come back from being in LA, I believe, and she's shot a few different series, and I've only just literally connected with her yesterday, funnily enough. She was, or you might actually be in a better position to even provide us some guidance post this. Perhaps the two of you can talk, because she's got a bunch of material shot. I think she's got a series, and she's got some other things, a lot of footage in a timeline that basically just needs an editor to come in and add sound and add effects and other things like that. But yeah, so I'm going to probably have her on the show. I told her that I'm not the guy for that job. TV series editing is beyond my scope. But yeah, who knows? Maybe someone else is watching might sort of tune into that. What was I going to ask you? I did write and write. I think we talked about modesty already. I mean, I don't imagine you would get starstruck these days. You must have met your fair selection of people at times. Do the TV series people cross paths with the movie industry people?
These days, yes. When I first started 30 years ago, they didn't. They were a different bunch of people altogether. But these days, it's all pretty much mixed in, you know. Some of the stuff on Netflix, for instance, which is TV basically, is stunning. I mean, they're movies. They're movies for TV.
Yes.
I've always enjoyed making movies for TV. I did quite a few of them. High Country and The Killing Fields, they called them telemovies.
Yeah.
So although they were to be shown on TV, they were to be shot and budgeted and dealt with as if they were a movie. It's just you never went into a darkened cinema where they shut the doors and locked you in.
Yeah.
And you had bloody commercials inserted with the commercial channels. But you could always take your own copy home without the commercials and have a look.
Yeah. Who are the top celebrities that you've met, that you've enjoyed meeting? Like if you were to talk about some different actors, for example, who have you in your travels?
Oh dear, I don't know. I don't know really. Over the years, Billy Hunter was a lovely guy, actor. Rebecca Gibney's great actor and a lovely person. Hugo Weaving, nice guy. There's too many to name.
Yeah.
Even Elf, you know, the old guy on Home and Away.
Yeah.
I met him very early in the piece. I made a thing called A Fortunate Life, and he played Bad Bob.
Oh yeah, I saw that on your list. I read that book when I was a kid. Actually, it's a good story.
Fortunate Life? Yeah. And he's a nice guy and a good actor. So I nearly fell off my chair when I joined Home and Away 30 years later, and there he was. I thought, you're Bad Bob.
Indeed. So when you made your way through, like, you know, just backtracking to the story of going into the theatre, I guess doing whatever job was given to you, what did you consider as kind of like, I guess, your first break or your first big kind of moment where you thought, actually, I reckon I'm going to have a shot here at getting into this?
Well, I'd be giving away secrets if I told you that. I was 19, right? With the hormones of a 19-year-old. The first job I had to do was stand prompt side in the theatre, and just behind the curtain edge. And in those days, you couldn't have nude people on stage, so they used to have pretty much nude girls, young, beautiful showgirls, on trucks, what they called trucks, which had rails. People pulled ropes and the trucks moved across the stage. And the girls were unable to move. They were just posed on these trucks. So my job was to hand them their cloak when they stepped off the truck. And as a 19-year-old, I thought, well, if I'm getting paid to do this, I'm in the right job.
That's good. I like I appreciate the honesty. Yes, the teen years. Oh my God. It makes you laugh, doesn't it, when you think back? Like, nowadays I'm quite content just to, have a meal and cruise around the place, but it's a different ball game when you're a teenage boy.
Oh yeah. Then after that, another show came in. They said, "Can you stay and work here? And we like you." And I said, "Yeah." So we what's called bumped out, which is a load of semi-trailer with all the props and the scenery and all the things that go with the show, and it moved from Melbourne to Sydney. And a new show rolled in the next day on another truck, which we unloaded and bumped in. And they said, "Can you stay for the next show?" And I said, "Yeah." And I said, "We'd like you to work on the fly floor," which is up in the gods. Basically, you go up a set of stairs at the back of the stage onto the fly floor, and you pull ropes, counterweighted ropes, that drop scenery in and out. And between scenes, you get a couple of moments of black where the lights are off and you go whoosh, bang, and in comes a new scene. That's the guy on the fly floor doing that. That was me for the next show. And that's actually what got me into television, because Channel 9 at that stage in Melbourne were building a studio, and they had built into the studio a fly floor, because the designer had been in theatre and knew that's how you change scenes.
Yeah.
And in those days, there was no tape or anything like that. Everything was live, So you had to go to camera 1 while all the scenery changed on camera 2 and 3. So they said, "We were looking for someone who knows how fly floors work." And I said, "I know how a fly floor works. I used to work on fly floor in theatre." And they said, "Oh, you're the man for the job. Off you go." So I used to climb up the ladder at Studio 9 on the Graham Kennedy show, Graham Kennedy in Melbourne Tonight. And while Kennedy was rabbiting on down in what's called the host set, which is not on the main stage, I'd be changing scenes on the main stage.
Yeah.
So that Kennedy would go, "Now here we've got the Rolling Stones," or whoever it happened to be. So, yeah, I think it progressed. My life progressed like that. Just from knowledge. I was the only one there who really knew about fly floors.
Yeah.
And then I did that, and then I realised that I thought they could do sound better than they were doing it. And I happen to know a bit about sound just from my hobbies. And I went to the bosses and said, "I'd like to have a crack at sound here. I think I can do better than what's being done." And they said, "Oh, go away. We like what you're doing." So I went back, I think, 3 times. And in the end said, "Oh, look, I'll have to look somewhere else for a job." And I said, No, don't do that. We'll give you a go with the sound." So I had a go at sound mixing and enjoyed that. So it went on and on until I eventually went to somebody. They came to me actually and said, "Would you like to direct?" So
wow,
that was it.
Amazing. So did you work behind the camera as well?
Yeah. Oh yeah. For a while, I didn't like that much because
Okay.
the cameras were huge bloody things. I'm a fairly small person in stature, and in those days the television cameras anyway were huge. And I thought, it's not really my game.
Yeah.
But I could see what they were doing.